There be dragons. Dragons everywhere, boy! And in rural Montana, that leads to a tremendous vision of adventure for the modern world. Hi, I'm Garrett K. Jones, and for the final Author Awareness August interview, I'm talking with fellow fantasy writer Paul D. Smith and his speculative fantasy series, Jason and the Draconauts. I try to make new content every week, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Happy weekend. Before I get into the interview, let's get social. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GKJ_publishing. I post with the 5 Kingdoms, Writing Community, Am Writing, and Authors Challenge 2019 hashtags. Hey Paul, thanks for doing the interview. So, starting off, what project or projects are you currently working on, and what is it they are about?
Well, hi Garrett, and first of all, thanks for taking the time to have me on your podcast as a guest. So, the project I'm currently working on is the 4th book in my Jason and the Draconauts series called Jason and the Draconauts, The Fate of Dragons. Hopefully that will be out sometime this year. Probably around Christmas time. The premise of the whole Jason and the Draconauts series is about what happens if dragons return in the 21st century. So it is a combination of action and humor and magic and technology together. The dragons are characters in the story, so they talk and they speak. They're the protagonists, so they work with the humans in the story against the common foe. So the first book is Jason and the Draconauts, the second is Jason and the Draconauts, The Council of Ancients, and the third is Jason and the Draconauts, Regenesis. So looking forward to that 4th book coming out, hopefully in just a few months.
What prompted you to write fantasy, and are there other genres you'd like to try in the future?
So what got me writing in this particular genre, really 2 motivations. Number one, when I was a kid, I loved dragons. I grew up playing the classic Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, and by far my favorite creatures in those stories were the dragons, the metallic dragons, the color dragons. I actually, when I first had this idea, I wrote to, I think it was Wizards of the Coast owned D&D at that time, just to see, hey, can I use your dragons in my stories, because I love them, and I got a categorical no on that, which was good in the long run because it forced me to develop my own dragons and species and subspecies and all of that. But my second main inspiration for this was I wanted to write a series for young people, and be even more specifically one that I would feel comfortable reading to my boys. Now my boys were very young at that time, so I was thinking something fairly, safe, clean, family friendly, and I just kind of kept that as time goes. So what I'm thinking of past the Jason of the Draconauts series is I'd love to get into a little bit more sci-fi. I love the idea of time travel, so I've been kicking around ideas and actually doing some testing on different ideas. So no spoilers there, but hopefully more on that to come in the future.
What was one of the biggest obstacles that you've faced in the process of creating your work?
I think some of my biggest obstacles, well, first of all, I'm independently published. Some may say self-published, so that in and of itself is an obstacle. I'm on my own. Everything is up to me. So there's really, from that, there's 2 big obstacles. Number one is funding for publishing a book. They say publishing a book can be inexpensive, and it can be, but if you want to do it, I'll use air quotes, if you want to do it right, you really do need to have some funds available to you, especially to buy editing services, which are not inexpensive. So, big obstacle has been that. Now, I've run 3 successful Kickstarters for each of my first 3 books, and I plan to do a Kickstarter for the 4th book, so hopefully stay tuned, everybody watching, for that. But it's tough. Kickstarters are they're stressful. You're waiting 30 days and your entire potential future of that book is dependent on if you get the funding or not. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two has been, since I'm, again, independently published, is the marketing, getting the word out. Again, that's all on me. And that's a challenge. I mean, there are so many options. Let's just use social media as an example. What I've run into is that there's just so many options out there. Getting noticed in the huge world of social media is very difficult to do. So yeah, it's a challenge, and one I don't have an answer to yet. I'm still kind of working on that myself. So those are my two biggest obstacles, I would say.
What advice would you give to other would-be writers out there?
So advice. You know, I think the biggest piece of advice I have to give somebody is A, just start writing. I mean, you need to put words on paper. I would encourage people to, what I say is write to their strengths when they're first getting started. So if you are enjoy fantasy or sci-fi, don't try to make your first forays into writing into a genre that you know absolutely nothing about. So play to your strengths. B is really you do need to have other people read what you've written. You know, you can have family, friends read your work, but eventually you really do need to turn that over to somebody who maybe doesn't know you and doesn't have that emotional investment into you that might give you some constructive criticism. Sometimes it's hard to hear criticism, but it's the only way you're going to get better is to put your work out there, whether it's, again, via the internet or just handing physical copies to people. But yeah, you do need to start getting your work out there. So number one, just start writing, play to your strengths, get your work out there, and develop your craft. You know, I've told people that when they first start writing, you know, work on things like, you know, your plot structure and character development and setting. And I know a lot of times people try to think, well, you know, I got to worry about grammar and syntax, and that is all very important. But if you're just getting started in writing, you know, get concerned about some of those basics that I mentioned before. And then afterwards, the grammar and syntax will come into play. But get words on paper, get people reading it, and start accepting feedback and critique.
Are your books currently available, and if so, where can people buy them?
No, that's a great question. My work is currently available pretty much exclusively on Amazon. I mean, you can get all three of my of the books in paperback, and you can get them on Kindle as well through Amazon. I do have a version of all three of the first books together in one Kindle, just one Kindle package. It's called the Draconauts and the Draconauts Omnibus Edition, and that's for a pretty low price point if you want to get started and read them, hoping that the fourth one will come out soon. So they're out there, they're on Amazon. If you go get one, please leave a review. Reviews are always important when selling on Amazon. It helps elevate the profile of the book. But yeah, they're out there, and if you're ever somewhere in upstate New York and there's a convention you're going to, I do a lot of conventions where I just sell books at a table. So I would love to meet any of you. If we happen to cross paths, stop on by, talk to me, and I'll even sign a book for it if you want. Thanks.
A big thank you goes out to Paul D. Smith for participating in the final interview for Author Awareness August. You can learn more about him at his website. So that's it for Author Awareness August. If you've kept up with this month-long series, thank you for being a part of the magic. If you're an indie author or you know of one that would enjoy being interviewed, please make sure that you click on the contact link in the description below to submit your author suggestions. Also, starting in September, I'm going to be taking a month-long sabbatical from doing any vlogs. I know, but I'll be back for Season 2 with new updates, new author interviews, new creative writing tips, and quite possibly a brand new segment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment below. If you're interested in sponsoring more videos like this, you can support me on Patreon by clicking the link in the description, where you can choose from 3 support tiers ranging from $1 per month to $5 per month. Each tier provides 24 hours early access to the vlogs, plus some other really sweet perks. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and the Vlog of the 5 Kingdoms by clicking the button to my right. By clicking either of the buttons to my left, you can watch last week's interview with Christian author Michelle Keener, or you can stream the entire Author Awareness playlist. Have a great Labor Day weekend, and I'll see you in October.